Kurmel. So I had to persuade, should I call you Tom? I feel like on this I should call you
Yeah,
Mr.
no, of
Doctor.
course, of
What?
course. Yeah, of
Just
course.
Tom?
Tom, yeah, of course.
Okay. But I think you're so much more than Tom. But anyway, so Thom Kurmel, how long have we been friends?
Oh, over a decade, well over a decade.
It's so crazy the way we met. So I was in the Corps of Engineers here in Kansas City, and Chris Prinslow, I went in and I sat across from Chris, and I'm like, we're going to build every project for the Corps of Engineers. And I don't come from this world, so I didn't realize I was saying I'm going to slay a dragon. But anyway, Chris goes, well, do you know Dr. Thom Kurmel? And I'm like, no, should I? Oh, yes. So he wrote your name on a sticky note, literally. He's like, call, hang on, let me turn off my phone. Call, well, I'm like, okay. So I leave and Dominic's like, are you going to call him? I go, yeah, I guess I am. And so anyway, it has been one of the funnest relationships because we just are basically slaying dragons.
Yeah, it's hard. The construction industry is so old-fashioned, and so protective and so insular and so proud. All those things sort of uh, need to be sort of wiped clean and kind of start over if the construction industry and the design industry are going to compete in the modern world. They need to get over themselves and they need to work together and collaborate. Now, when I say that, there are a lot of people that are doing that for sure, because they get it and they want to provide good customer service, not just build a building. I think that's the point. We got the goals wrong, right? The designers want to design, the builders want to build, but then at the end, the owner's left with an unfinished product. And that's kind of, why I appreciate Shelley and her team so much, because they see well beyond those two significant emotional events, and I used to be a big owner in the Fed. I ran a fairly large and complicated portfolio. And my goal was not design or construction. My goal was putting in place assets that support the mission. That's my goal. Design and construction was a terrible annoyance to me. I'm an architect, but it was a terrible annoyance to me because it disrupts your financial systems. It disrupts your way to buy things. It takes money away from other things you should be spending money on. It's painful. It's long. It gets litigious at times. It's complicated. It disrupts your operations. So construction and design might be cool and it might be interesting to those that are in it, but to owners, it's a painful process and it needs to be better.
Yeah. You know what I find interesting though? So like you said, getting over themselves, I can't comprehend if you're going and speaking to a federal client or an airport or someone that has federal funds, why their number one thing would not be transparency and accountability.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think there's a lot of professionalism in the design and construction industry that sort of pervades uh, into the process. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of really smart people working in design and construction unto themselves, right? Professional engineers, professional architects. You go to school for years, you practice, you take a test, you pay gobs of money to be certified and registered and get in business, right? That takes an extraordinary amount of willpower to do. You know that, Shelley. But in the professional industry, people are very prideful of their work, of their products, of their thinking, of their quote secret sauce, and they don't want to kind of let that out, right? So, nor are they really prone to share other with other people the things that make their business go. So there's a little bit of self-protectionism that's going on here, which is okay. You need that. You need to be able to compete on your level with your products. I get all that. But when you're working for an owner and they provide you the resources to do something for them, then all bets are off about pride. You got to put that aside. You got to You gotta work with others. And I've seen high performing teams just get after it and get things done quick and get things done for the benefit of the owner. They make a profit, they work together, they solve problems, they work
Yeah.
as a team. They're powered by consistent, open, transparent information shared by the entire team, including the owner, right? You gotta bring the owner into this deal too. So the way I like to view it is all these, contracts and, giant construction projects and design contracts are a business relationship. Okay. The owner is in business with these people, albeit temporarily, right?
Yes.
And if you're in a business with somebody, what do you want to do? You want to share, you want to be open, you want to be
Yeah.
transparent, you want to help solve problems, you want to be in on the deal. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can't do that if people hide the pickle. You just can't do it.
Well, I like we'll go into these big, like have a big meeting next week at a international airport. And when we first presented, the conversation was, this is my fun, the exercise before the project. Let's just go ahead and get it out of the way. You know what I'm saying? That's the exercise, because we already know. And it is so funny because it's coming. And so I just like, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Okay. But it is ultimately someone will call us back from that meeting. And it sounds like this. Hey, someone's calling me actually. Hang on. Now I'm anyway. And they're just like, hey, don't use my name, but yeah, we have a real problem here. And it's just like, we know there's a problem. NASA, there's a problem. Every project suffers because, first of all, finding shovel ready documents are not even a thing, and then the absence of the I don't even want to use the word integrity. I don't want to point fingers, but it's like it could be so much easier, right? But it has been 16 years, Tom, that I've sat in this chair and listened to the stories of why they can't, or well, that just, we have our own system, or blah blah blah. And I'm just like, well, how long did it take you to get your as built? Well, we never get our as built. I'm like, what would it mean to you if you had your as built? A lot. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's
Yeah.
okay. You're not alone in the struggle, right? That's the challenge. They think that they're less than if they admit that there could be a better way to do this.
Well, and there's two other things I want to, share with you that, this because you've been in this business for a while, but humans are involved. Okay. And, everybody comes from a different place experientially, uh, leadership training,
Mm-hmm.
professional training, how you plug into the process, what you're trying to learn, where you fit, what your role and responsibility is, who can say yes or no, right? Everybody comes from a different spot. And there's some
Yeah.
people on the team that are really experienced and really good at what they do. And there's people sometimes that aren't. And that's the way the industry should work. You need to
Uh-huh.
bring the young people up and the
Yeah.
people that are learning so that they understand how to do modern work together. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and because of that, people don't want to let others know that they don't know what they don't know. Okay.
Yeah. And what
So
a weakness is that?
so part of it is defense, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when you
Yeah.
start playing defense because you don't know something,
Yeah.
that sets up a role and responsibility that may not be stated, but it's real. It's a real
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And defense is not the way to play the construction game. You got to play offense all the time.
But I have a question, Tom. So, because we're the gatekeeper, and so not that we're saying yes or no, this can't be done. We're just always auditing, looking for missing information. The thing that I'm most curious about is there a class that you take in this process that says, well, if you don't want the owner to know, just change the meeting minutes or just change the contract, they'll never know. Because that's been our biggest alarm. Like, what? Okay. You want us to open closed documents so you can make more comments. And does the owner know? So of course we're not saying yes, no, you can't. We're just going back to the owner and saying, do you want us to open these closed documents from the review period so there more comments can be made? And typically the owner at first will be like, oh, there must have been an oversight in the chain of command. And we're like underneath our breath going, no, there was no oversight, but oh yes, I'm sure there was. And then the second one comes and you're just like, and then the owner says, what are these people doing? They're playing the game. This is how the game is played. And whenever we're not in that position, no one knows what's changed, or, or trying to find information. Or like one of my podcasts was from Secretariat, and Wayne Keegan said, it's like whenever there's litigation, it's like finding a needle on a needle stack. I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, but with you, we already know where the needle is. I'm like, I know, Tom. I mean, Wayne, I know, but I mean, I'm not on every project yet. I did apply at the White House to be the construction czar. So I went ahead and appointed myself. The president does not know this, but I'm like, hello, I have appointed myself to be the construction czar, and this is why. And so I apply about every 3 days with the same message. And every time I get a message back, oh, your application is so important. We will review. And I'm like, they're thinking, who is this woman? We don't have a construction czar. We do now. Thank you. Somebody has to, right? I appointed myself.
Yeah.
Will you give me that appointment? I mean, you are Dr. Thom Kurmel. You have a PhD.
Yeah.
Can we make this happen? A whole ceremony.
In my former life, I may have been able to do something about that, but not now. So to the point, though, I mean, there's reasons why we behave in the construction industry like we do, right? You're under contract, okay?
Yeah.
And part of the deal with executing a contract is that the people that actually do it know more than the people that need it, right? Typically. And especially so in the government, right? The people that have the requirement, that know what they need done, have trouble articulating what they really need and translating that into an acquisition document. And then the document is impure because of the handoff. When that gets put out to the industry, there's another set of interpretation that goes on. They go, we think this is what you need. We'll sign the contract. And then they get into it and people go, well, that's not what we really needed. So there's this whole thread of handoffs, of unknowns, of people, different people taking pieces of information and something. So you can see how, as information gets threaded through from the beginning to the end, it gets ripped apart. It's kind of like the old tin can and the string idea, right? The next person who tells is going to interpret it differently.
Yeah.
So and when you get under contract, all of that changes, right?
Yeah.
You have a hard, fast thing that you got to do, yet people still think that they need something differently, right? So that's when the fun begins, because people will go, wow, okay, we'll try and accommodate them, and there's good-hearted people out there that want to do the right thing, but it ends up costing more money and time, and it creates heartache and bad relationships, and it comes down to people managing the requirement. How do you do that? You get good information to start with, and you thread it throughout, and you keep people apprised of what's going on. And when you add to it, you go, this is part of the mountain of information created during this thing. Now let's put it to use. Let's take all this stuff and make it useful for the owner so he can put that asset back into the cycle and get on with his mission, right?
Okay, question. So where did you graduate from college? You told me one time and I was really impressed, but tell me again.
Well, I have an undergraduate degree in architecture from Nebraska.
Yeah, but
so from the middle of the country, the best people in the country come from the Midwest. And then I had aspirations for higher education and went to Harvard. But I don't tell many people that.
Well, and I was going to say Yale, but that will be such an insult. I'm like, it's one of those two, but I'm not going to say. But so this is my analogy to what we deliver. So when you walk into Harvard and you walk into the library, there's a librarian sitting there.
Yep.
That's us.
Yep.
And you can take books off the shelf, but you can't put them back. The librarian knows who has what, when, and where, and they're organizing everything. That's the simplest way to describe what we do. It's like,
in fact, I used that very analogy with somebody the other day.
Okay.
And I told him, I said, what gave you confidence when you walked into that library? Number one, there was going to be somebody there at the front desk if the library was open. And the card catalog was usually very well organized, albeit paper. Okay.
Yeah.
You could always find what you were looking for in the card catalog.
Yes.
And 99 times out of 100, if somebody didn't borrow the book you wanted, it was there and in the right place. Okay.
Yeah.
That is the exact analogy for the way we need to organize our information for projects.
Yeah.
And if you look at the way things are run now, everybody's got their own mustard to cut. They got their own SharePoint site.
Yeah.
None of it's very well organized. It starts out that way, but then it just gets kablooey. When you hand off that set of information from one discipline to another, and even interdisciplinary within the design team, you may have 10 or 12 or 15 subs, all of which have a different way of doing business, all of which have a different information protocol. And you hand that to the builder who has 50 subs, okay? You've got now a soup of 100 different types of information gathered, produced, manufactured, collected, that nobody is stewarding, right? This
Yeah.
is about information stewardship, right?
Yeah. Oh, so
And
maybe I should be the information steward czar.
maybe
Huh. I'm kidding.
every time we
I'll
talk,
rescind my
think another
application.
idea that you should be, that you've taken and run with it. So
Yeah. I'll be like, yeah. I don't know. I mean, exactly, Tom. Everything you're saying. I think also one of the misnomers is that the owner can defend their contract
yeah.
because they don't have the documents to defend their contract. So
Well,
they're
I would go
basically
further
sitting
than that.
ducks.
They don't
Okay,
have the
what?
documents. They don't have the documents, but the documents they do have are usually impure or incomplete, and the people interpreting them never produced them in the first place,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And then that's when the lawyers get in, because you get a lawyer to interpret somebody that somebody made up that
Yeah.
is incomplete. They're going to go, well, this is incomplete, and it may be
Yeah.
on them or their organization. They don't want to let that cat out of the box. So
Yeah.
my point is that with the milieu of different types and different people and different organizations creating all this information themselves and then trying to make sense out of it, it's a miracle that anything gets done these
I know
days.
it is a miracle. I look at these buildings, I'm like, how did that happen? It is so crazy. And I don't know. Okay, I have my own story about that. But okay, so this is also an analogy that I use. So the Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir.
Yeah.
Well, someone that loves to sing. Well, I love to sing, but you sing more professional than I do. You have to have a choir director,
Yep.
right?
You have to have one.
Pastor Cymbala's wife, she's like, I'll direct the choir. And I always watch her and I'm like, she's sending out these signals and the music is so grand. And so I'm thinking, maybe it's Mr. President, I would like to be the choir director. I don't know. I'm kidding. But it's the same concept, right? You
It
have to
is the same
have,
concept. Well,
yeah,
and the most important thing in a choir is not the performance, it's the rehearsal and preparation, right? What are you doing as you
yeah,
run up to opening the doors to a new asset? You're preparing, you're rehearsing, you're getting things ready, you're making sure things are right, you're cleaning things, you're cleaning
yeah,
out things, right? And if you don't have the proper orchestration and the proper score by which to to do your performance, it's going to be a mess. It's going to take longer. It's going to take more money. You may have
yeah,
to reinvent the wheel a couple of times.
yeah, yeah,
That's painful to owners.
yeah.
Owners hate that. What
We had
vexes
a,
owners most? Okay, it's not the construction industry. The construction industry is what it is, right?
yeah,
People complaining, oh, I know the supply chain, blah, blah, blah. Well,
oh,
no,
yeah.
no, it's imperfect information about how to get at what you need to buy, where you need to buy it, in the marketplace, right? So
Yeah, and even if there is a supply chain issue, if I was the owner, I would say, show me the purchase order and show me. I need access to this data, right? Instead of someone just telling you, well, Tom, you know that you can't sing Friday because there is no microphone. And Tom says, well, yeah, okay. No, show me the microphone, right? I can fix it. So it's like I kind of want to start a whole nother division of our company saying, if there is a supply chain issue, tell me what it is, and I will find you a different supplier. Because there's going to be somebody that can do it, right? Instead of
yeah,
just doing status quo of, well, there's a supply chain issue. There's always been a supply chain issue, whether it's lumber or whether it's
right,
subcontractors or whether it's, there's always this is not anything new, but
right.
it's a thing that is the now topic. Well, we do have a supply chain issue. We almost had a huge one with the railroad shutting down, but
I think it's an excuse, frankly, that people like
yes,
to use to say, I can't get creative enough. I don't have enough time or the right enough resource to go search and go find a different alternative, right? So I'm just going to make an excuse up. I mean, I've seen this over and over again,
But
right?
that's what they do in kindergarten.
Yeah. Well, again, what
No
are we?
comment.
What are we but adults? How should we behave like adults in a collaborative, cooperative, communicative way? How do we do that foundationally on a large project where you got a bunch of people working together? You share information, right?
Yeah, well, like smart information. I know
Well,
one of
and
our
I would tell you that
what?
the pandemic kind of helped a little bit in that
Yes.
regard. Why? Because everybody's now savvy about getting on TV on their home computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was on a meeting yesterday on a very complicated project at the very beginning stages of it with 65 people all participating fully and sharing information that they had commonly. I mean, that's an advantage of
Yeah.
what happened out of COVID because people are now savvy about communicating more effectively. It's not about the tool, it's about getting together with people and collaborating on with common interest and common information.
Yeah. Well, that is the tool, Tom. We're talking about my smart plans.
Right.
I'm kidding. No, anyway, yeah, I mean, again, we're on the same page. We've been on the same page. We keep talking about the same thing over and over again. And it's just, how do we change the world with data? I was driving to work. I'm looking at a new Tesla, and I was like, well, Tesla's not a car. It's a data collector. That's what
Yep.
it's doing. It's collecting data. So the next Tesla knows where the road turns or where whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, we're like Tesla. We're collecting data. So the
Right.
next person can be able to drive the vehicle and easy. We could even get a fancy steering wheel. I don't like that little steering wheel thing that looks like an
Well,
airplane
a lot of
yoke.
people don't. I saw somebody turn theirs in the other day and they just
Yeah.
tossed the keys on the thing and said, I don't want this thing anymore because of
Yeah.
the steering
But
wheel.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's just about the data collection, the savvy of the data. Um, I don't even know how else to say it, but I mean, we're on the same mission. We're just like, can we just make it easy? And okay, listen to this. Let's do the analogy of Tom Brady, because I'd like him to retire because we did not want to play him in the Super Bowl. Did you watch this football game last night?
We did not.
Okay, Tom, I gotta go. I'm kidding. No, I mean the Chiefs won.
Oh, they
Okay.
did. Oh, good.
Yeah, but it was brutal. It was like a dog fight, like a chicken fight. I mean, I don't even know how chickens fight, but it was brutal. My favorite Patrick Mahomes was just, he had an alarm look on his face, which I feel like his mother. I'm like, oh, baby, no, no. But anyway, this guy catches the football. I don't remember his name. I get it wrong. But anyway, he ran back 99 yards. He was working at Wendy's before he took this position. So he went from Wendy's to 99-yard, win the game. And I was thinking, isn't that the coolest thing of like what we can do whenever you got the ball and you run? It's just like, let's go. But Tom Brady, his wife wants him to retire. Do you follow this at all?
Yeah, a little bit. Yep.
Okay. And she's like, you haven't been to a birthday party in 23 years. You have not been to funerals. You haven't been to anniversaries because you're playing football. It's the same thing with construction. When you're in the industry, you don't get to have free time because you're always worried about, is the information organized? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. So I want to have some birthday parties for kids. That's really
Yeah.
what I want to do.
Oh,
I mean,
that's a good goal. Right.
yeah, because I mean, how would you miss birthday parties? I mean, that is my greatest joy, watching birthday parties. And I think, oh my gosh, Tom Brady's like so many people in the industry because they miss so much because of the stress and the expectations and blah, blah, blah. So our mission is now birthday parties.
So I got a new tagline for you back to your
Yeah,
test.
tell me. Okay.
You know, Tesla uses, and so do all these other data companies, the big buzzword now is AI, artificial
Oh,
intelligence.
yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, but what makes you guys better? Human intelligence. You're
Yes.
providing the human interface to the intelligence created by others so that they can use it again later and be better at what they do. You're kind of like the Tesla of information, kind of
Yeah.
in the
I
consumer.
say we are. Let's just be extreme. I'm in marketing. We are the Tesla. I'm kidding. Okay, so think about that and thinking about the fintech world, because I was on a call the other day with this firm that they do auditing, and he's like, well, you're fintech. I'm like, you can call me whatever you want to call me. I'm okay with all of it. But bottom line is we're organizing all the data. We have human interaction that keeps everything organized. So could someone make up something about that? Is it HAI? Human artificial intelligence? No, I don't know.
Well, it
Put that on your list
wouldn't
of
be
things to solve.
artificial if it was human. Artificial
That's right.
implies that the computer does it. You guys are human intelligence.
I know I'm having a terrible time figuring this out. There's got to be a thing that I could start. I don't know. Other than, I don't know. Somebody will come up with some acronym. I'll be like, yeah, that's what it is. But I
Well,
don't know.
maybe I got to go and wrap this up.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
But terrific to talk to you as always, and keep up the great work and keep grinding. You know what they say: people need to hear something 7 times before they start to believe it, right? So you're like 6 now. Okay.
I'm 6. Okay,
At
okay.
some point, people are going to go, oh, I really get that now, right?
Yeah,
And, you know, your poor husband working the government deal and trying to get some traction there, man, he's talked so much, he's blue in the face now. I mean, he's way past 7. So be that a lesson to you that it's going to take a little bit more talking to
I'm talking it. I'm
get over
talking it.
that
I'm
hump,
I'm doing it. Yeah. But I love you and I appreciate your time and I mean all of your wisdom and the fun that we have because I mean it kind of is it's kind of fun to change and make things happen.
It is indeed. Nice to see
Yeah.
you, Shelley.
Okay, have a great day.
All right. Talk to
Thank
you
you.
later.